Ladies and gentlemen,
Kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hairy News. Kia ora, Chewy.
Kia ora, Pat. Thanks for
What
having
would
me.
be the percentile of t-shirts that you own that are black? Just looking at their background.
Well, I attempted to diversify at some point.
Is it the line
choosing
red
yellow
one? I got a line
It's
red.
not lion red. It's no FX.
Oh,
And
looks like line red.
keep on saying, why have I got a bear T-shirt in the background? No, it's no FX with the lion red logo from their New Zealand tour, 2013. I think that one's
Nice.
from. But yes, black is
Black
a
is
key part of my wardrobe. It goes with
Black is the new black.
literally everything. There's some grey up there. We got some grey.
But grey's just like
lovely blue.
grey's just
brown.
like black that hasn't quite graduated yet, if we're honest.
Yes, it's true. But yeah, I appreciate the comments of people trying to like pick out what bands they are and that sort of thing. So
we could play games. We could do like change a t-shirt out the next time we're on. It's like a match these two things up. Who can pick for a prize? Who can pick the t-shirt that's been changed?
up on that wall. So I used to work for JB Hi-Fi, and the uniform
JB
requirements
Hi-Fi.
are loose.
Hi-Fi.
So I used to go through a lot of my band t-shirts. Up on that wall is the only one that I was told to change.
Oh, which was that?
That red one there.
Yeah.
For Bad Religion has two sexy nuns kissing, and that was too far. I had to wind it back after that one.
Wind your neck in, son. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight, whānau. We've got a bit of a double header for you tonight. Eru Kapa Kingi and Bianca Ranson join us via the international medium of a pre-recorded interview. But talking about Toitū Te Aroha, a walk for love. It's not quite as simple as that, as I stumble into those words and Eru kind of says, yeah, it's that, but it's a bit more, which is happening this Saturday in Auckland if you are around. We also have Camilla Belich, who is a Labour MP who has just reached across the aisle to try and stop modern slavery, certainly to hold companies accountable for modern slavery
What a great cause
that
no one could possibly deny.
Yeah. Well,
that's good, right?
The workplace minister has said no to this workplace initiative of stopping slavery being used by big business. So I've already put it out on Twitter. I actually haven't.
Oh, you couldn't write it.
I haven't looked at the responses yet. I could look for the first time now live. I actually put out on it. So we now, there's no responses on Twitter to this. I wonder why, because they're all ACT voters. So we now officially say ACT is pro-slavery. Who had that on their bingo card for 2026? So ACT 2026, the pro-slavery party. And I'll play it for you when we get Camilla on. I want to spoil your fun. The actual reason that Van Velden says the reason that she won't support it is hilarious. It's so bad. It's hilarious.
She doesn't want to start paying her household staff.
Something like that. And also tonight, I know this is sort of a yesterday news, the Ilhan Omar situation at the pulpit. The pulpit, that's the wrong thing. That's the podium would be better, wouldn't it? We are going to play some video tonight. A lot of the videos going around the internet has been bleeped. I found the video that's not bleeped.
Excellent.
So you will hear the politician, the progressive Ilhan Omar, drop the F-bomb on this show tonight. just so you can know. And there's probably a couple of tangents that we're going to get in there tonight around that and around what Trump's doing at the moment and, well, threatening to do in the Middle East. And basically he is the person responsible for more presidents of the world, leaders of the world, threatening to hover their finger over their own nuclear weapons button than anyone in before. The doomsday clock went forward a little bit last night, apparently. It's now like 58
38
and a half.
seconds to midnight. To midnight.
Yeah. So thanks, Trump.
Ugh.
Yeah, border peace. Thank you very much for that. Want to say huge thanks to our patrons. And if you are a patron and you are on the patron level or above, when I say above, I don't mean above as in better, I mean and pay more. So the $15 patron level and up. There is a online meeting for you guys tomorrow if you want to jump on board. You should have already received your invitation. And we will have not tomorrow, sorry, Saturday morning, 11 a.m. There is a meetup. It's online, and you're welcome to come along. We'd love to see you. If you're not a patron yet, this is your opportunity to have a think about it. If you can see right here, you get early access to a bunch of stuff, and maybe you've already watched Eru Kapa Kingi and Bianca Ranson talking to me about Toitū Te Aroha. If you haven't seen that, you haven't had the early access, then what you can do is stay right there. It's going to be for you in a couple of seconds. Appreciate all the people who are being involved with Patreon. It is really the thing that enables us to do what this is. And without sounding too greasy, we do really build this show and what we do on the backs of the patron. So if you're an enjoyer only, sure, fine. But you also owe a debt, metaphorically speaking, to the patrons who help to fund this. If you've thought about it for a while and you haven't got involved yet and you want to think about it and get involved, now is a good time. And we always say we would rather you pick a level of payment that you can easily sustain through the whole year rather than go, pledge too much and have to go out with a hiss and a bang. So have a look if you're interested, patreon.com/Big Hairy News, and we will we'll see you in the chat on Saturday morning if you want to come along. Citizen Gold, I have to go back to my school day. So that's 100, that's 200, that's 50, that's 80, 82, 282 days until the vote, I believe is what that says. And Dresnort says late fee, but while I'm here, I'll also emphasise the irony of the Minister for Workplace Relations refusing to bag an anti-slavery bill. Yeah, I think we got to be really clear on it. It's not just an anti-slavery bill. It's an anti-slavery in the workforce bill. Businesses that have to go and basically be held accountable for using modern slavery within the line of produce. So if they're getting product from a country in the world and that country, let's say that cotton is being picked by, if that was the product, modern day slavery, then they will be held accountable for that. So it's a great thing, actually. We were talking a couple of weeks ago about holding businesses accountable, and the social media companies, we suggested that if, much like a mainstream media company, a television company, a radio station, a newspaper company, the social media companies were held accountable for what is on their social media companies. Like TVNZ is held accountable for what broadcasts on TVNZ, even if it's not their opinion. That might see a change. We're all about businesses being held accountable, and this is just another way of doing it. And of course, it does enable us to now say ACT is the party of pro-slavery, because things are just too busy to look at it right now, Chewy. It's pretty much what's going to be said. Anywho, what we're going to do is Camilla Belich is going to join us to talk about the anti-slavery laws. Camilla, right now, as we speak, is at the Mount Maunganui Vigil. So normally our live guest would come on at 9 o'clock. She is somewhere between going back to her hotel and being at the vigil. So we're going to start with the pre-recorded conversation, which means it gives her another 20 minutes or so to get back from the vigil, which means obviously we're going to have a bit of a chat about how the vigil was. If you're interested and you want to hear from someone who literally has just been there, we'll be talking about that as well. Chewy, my friend, my lord, my liege, is there anything else we need to cover off on before we rip, shit and bust?
No, I believe we should indeed shit, rip and bust. Bust, shit, rip?
Something like that.
Rip and shitty.
I should probably go find the video first of all and actually upload it so we can then play it. That's probably something. So you might want to fill time for about 30 seconds and then we'll do it.
Well, we were talking about Patreon a little bit last night, and I just want to say thanks to everybody that has passed on comments about what they think we should do about it. I think quite a few of you were shocked when we mentioned the amount that Patreon clips the ticket
It's big.
on your donations and stuff like that, and it overall seems like you're all very open to us doing what's best to keep BHN going.
And just on that, I've heard back from Patreon today. They've basically said the extra guys is tax, is GST. People are paying GST on it now. Now, I also have seen that iOS, if you're using Apple Pay, there's another payment for iOS. And so for those who are saying, well, I paid $23 for a $15 BHN plan, we see the 15. We actually see the 15 less what Patreon clips. Everything above that is GST or is iOS fees and stuff. So that's a part of it. But what I will also do is the people from Patreon have said, if your payments have changed, check your bill history to make sure it hasn't been always what you think it is now, and contact them directly if you've got a question. Over the weekend, I'll put that, or maybe even tomorrow, I'll put that message up on Patreon for our patrons to see, and then you'll know what to do. But it seems that's what it is. It seems it's GST. And I understand that there's been some new legislation passed about online casinos and stuff, or Netflix and stuff having to pay GST. It might be a part of that being caught up in it. So that's the answer, apparently. It's not all over yet, though. If you've got more questions, probably direct them straight to Patreon. And if you are a patron, you'll have that up on your... you will have the answer to those things up on Patreon in the next kind of 24, 48 hours. Right. Eru Kapa Kingi and Bianca Ranson joined me this evening around 6 o'clock. And we were talking about the latest hikoi, which is the Hikoi Te Aroha. And it was a great chat about it. And we'll see you after this. And by there, Camilla is probably going to be here to join us to tell us about ACT being pro-slavery and the Mount Maunganui vigil. All the best. We'll see you soon. I want to welcome to the show Bianca Ranson and Eru Kapa Kingi from Toitū Te Tiriti to talk to us about Toitū Te Aroha, a walk of love. Yes, a walk of love. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, bro. Yep, that's definitely one way of interpreting it. And aroha has many layers to it. Love, and connection, community. Those are all of the values and things we're promoting through this kaupapa.
I was going to say, Eru, I very much enjoyed and saw the sort of announcement to this that you did on Instagram and other places.
Towards certain communities here on our whenua in Aotearoa.
I don't know, I know you guys know a lot about about social media and stuff, but just a hint for the future, holding a baby or a puppy will get engagement. I was really hoping I'd see a baby on your lap today, so 5% disappointed, but it's about the kaupapa. I'll try and get over myself, but
I'll remember that, mate, for next time.
Gorgeous. The last time we talked to you, you had just had the moko, and there was reasons behind it, right. and in this one, you've just had the baby, yeah?
Yeah. So second baby now, second son, just gone 2 months, and he's thriving, and just grateful, and like also. It's all kind of full circle and a reminder of like what's important, and I think about sort of like how I want my sons to view the world, and how I want them to connect and see people and see their humanity when they grow up. And so like all of this is part of that. Like I want to instill in them the importance of embracing differences and seeing people with all of their mana and all of their tapu and respecting them and giving that dignity. So yeah, that's all this life journey, right? And grateful. Yeah.
Hey Bianca, do you want to give us kind of an elevator pitch? What is Toitū Te Aroha? What is it about? What is it for? Just an 11 a.m. this Saturday at Britomart in Auckland, and it's a walk to Aotea Square. Why are we needing this? Why is this activation happening?
Yeah, so this kaupapa is really about unity. It's about bringing our communities together and celebrating how different we are, celebrating our differences and knowing that we can stand side by side, centered in aroha and in mana and in our collective care for one another. And it's really a stand against, intimidation and harassment that has been targeted at minority groups, different faith groups, definitely the Palestine kaupapa, and of course the rainbow takatapui and trans communities as well. And with recent events that have been happening, it's just continuing to escalate. And we saw that particularly with the storming of this Te Aotearoa Library. So I'm helping with the organising of Toitū Te Aroha. My main kaupapa is Kaiawhina. We're a community care and self-defence group here in Tāmaki. We were born out of the Palestine kaupapa, so we've been on the ground with marshals and medics dealing with far-right actors, people weaponizing haka and shouting abuse at people at vigils and protests and rallies and across multiple kaupapa. So we're intersectional as a group, and we support all of the groups that I just mentioned. And because of that, we unfortunately have a lot of frontline experience with some of the things that have been targeted towards the rainbow community, the Sikh community, and Palestine movement as well, but not limited to that. We've seen it also at climate strikes with school children and other private events too. So super excited. This is not a counter protest. This is its own kaupapa. It's definitely centered in unity, bringing communities together. There's a lot of enthusiasm from a broad range of communities that have also been involved with the organizing. As Kaiawhina, we've done a new recruitment. We've done big events like the Hikoi Mō Te Tiriti. We got everyone over the Harbour Bridge, 30,000 people during that. And then we did the recent March for Humanity as well, where we were prepared to go over the bridge and then ended up taking everyone down Queen Street. And of course, we'll be on the ground on Saturday and supporting communities so that they feel safe and that they feel protected, and that also just a reminder for people to focus on our kaupapa. If anyone else comes up with any other kōrero to say uninvited, don't give them your time or your energy. They do not deserve it. Stay focused on our kaupapa and allow the kaiawhina to deal with those situations with de-escalation.
Hey, Eru, listening to that. First of all, it doesn't make sense to me because Winston Peters always tells us you're about separatism and being by yourself, but it sounds very generous and very welcoming. So, there's a mixed message there. I hear the word, and correct me if I'm wrong because it's not my space, about appropriation. And it sounds like what Bianca's saying on some level is there is some te ao Māori that's being appropriated by other groups, even if within that group they are Māori, and putting out some messaging and using some taonga in a way that you guys wouldn't support. There's obviously Destiny Church. There's also some hikoi, quote unquote, going around the country at the moment as well that there seems to be some friction on. Do you see that? I mean, appropriation might be the wrong word, but do you see groups kind of using te ao Māori in a way that you're not comfortable with? And what do we do about that?
Yeah, that's a good part. And appropriation, I think, is a relevant and appropriate term in some contexts. In the context that I guess you're alluding to at the moment, it's probably closer to manipulation. And we were clear about this in our live before this, that this kaupapa isn't to demonize our own relations or to further ostracize our own relations. No, it's really a reminder because the misuse of haka, to put it generally, it doesn't exist as a reality in a vacuum. It has a deep context to it, has a deep whakapapa of dispossession, of cultural alienation that's been inflicted on our people for generations. And so for the most part, our whanaunga who have been indoctrinated and targeted into these sorts of divisive groups, they have been able to be targeted in that way because of that context, because of that whakapapa, and we have to see that for what it is, and we have to show aroha towards that as well. So that's the other side of this kaupapa of Toitū Te Aroha, is that it's a multi-layered, and it has to work in all ways, right? It can't be discriminatory aroha because that's not aroha at all. So that's the thing we're super conscious of. I'm probably less forgiving of the sorts of leaders of those groups because I believe they're more conscious of what they're doing and their actions. But our message is clear, and we will keep our doors open to our whanaunga always because they're our whanaunga.
It's that idea of I mean we've had this term not invented but become more prevalent since 2020 about dis and misinformation. Like if people receive dis and misinformation and they're sort of tricked by it, more grace for them by the person or people or group passing on and elevating that dis or misinformation. That's sort of what I hear you saying.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by that sort of manipulation term as well.
Yeah. I'm also real keen to ask a question of either of you, but Bianca, I'll chuck it at you to start with. And I'm wearing my merch. I actually bought this at the Forum tent last year. We're ready to go. The thing about Toitū Te Tiriti, it seemed to be welcoming of everybody, like everyone come on board, but there did seem to be a Māori sort of focus on it. Not good or bad, I'm just saying that. Whereas with the branding and the imaging of this does seem to be saying, Bianca, you were talking about our communities, you're actively putting at the forefront that there are many communities involved with what we're doing. And I was even interested to ask you, Eru, about at the end of this message that you put out there,
kia tū tangatanga, uniting as one,
you speak Māori,
show the power
but you subtitle in English.
A kōrero, a hakatauki,
And that seemed to be a conscious decision, obviously, because you guys have put those on there. Are you actively trying to broaden this out and make more people aware that this is not just about Māori, this is many people groups, we want to put all of these groups in the forefront? Not have people come on sort of our march, but have everyone involved in this march as one, so to speak. Bianca?
Yeah, I mean, this is, obviously in direct response to particularly the weaponization of haka to try and intimidate and create fear amongst different communities. And I'll just go back to something that you were kind of talking about before and that Eru touched on as well is, really around those that are, part of, I kind of see them as like the twice colonized, like they've been colonized by, the crown, and then they've been colonized again by a Christo-fascist leader.
Gotcha.
And they are, a lot of those whānau are indoctrinated and being manipulated, but they are not our enemies. They are actually our whānau, and that they need to know that if they are survivors of these groups that are breaking tikanga, and using haka in a way that it shouldn't be used, that there is a place for them to land if they are survivors of that. In terms of Toitū Te Aroha, it's really about addressing that, and the reality is that within Te Ao Māori and amongst our people, that is absolutely not something that we support, the way that haka has been used, and it has been used in a strategic way, being by a group that was uninvited, pretty much to everything that they counter. They're obviously uninvited. There's no warning, and they're doing this to create content to go viral to far right audiences across the globe, and it's successful in doing that. And so what we're doing really is coming together as tangata whenua and uniting along with our communities that we have been connected with, particularly over the last 2.5 years with the genocide that's been playing out, on our phones, live streamed on our phones, and just the intersection of so many of us. When we're fighting for Te Tiriti justice, we're fighting for the justice of our Takatapu rainbow communities, our trans communities. We are fighting, a Māori leadership would never take a stance that was not calling out genocide and, people that are doing that to an Indigenous population in Gaza. So there is, I think, this intersectionality that is always a part of us as tangata whenua. And our tangata tiriti are across all kinds of communities, as we will see everyone come together on Saturday. But it's also about us saying, united together, the people united will never be divided. We all know that chant, but there's real power in that. There's power in our unity and coming together and being like, even though that we're different, that's all good. We can stand side by side here in Te Kōmititanga, out in our communities, on our streets, in our workplaces in this country, and have a flourishing, thriving life that is safe and respected and okay for you to practice your faith, be who you are, be an immigrant, be part of the rainbow community, and that there's absolutely no tolerance for hate, bigotry, weaponization of haka, intimidation, or for these communities to see Maori people and feel fearful of them. So this is an opportunity for us to come together in Aroha, and realize that when we come together, we create so much strength and power. We are actually building power when we do that, in this fight against what is being experienced. And just one more thing, please sign our petition. It's across all of our social media channels. If you haven't signed it already, please do. We are very carefully calling on the government to make sure that pretty much people have the ability to do what I just said, practice their faith, whatever it is, without experiencing harassment. And this continued escalation of violence, as seen at the Tāmaki Library and on our streets, cannot be tolerated. And it goes above the threshold of being able to peacefully protest, whether you're counter-processing or holding your own.
Thanks, Bianca. That was amazing. Maybe a last question before we give out details again as to what they can do is you have mentioned haka, and we've all seen hakas in Queen Street being performed by some groups. You have mentioned Tāmaki Library a couple of times. It does sound like you're really pointing to one group. You've said this is not a response or a protest rally, it's something other. Is this really, and also you use the word survivors, and survivors is a really interesting word because a survivor evokes a feeling of abuse. So survivors come from abuse, survivors come from cults, that sort of thing as well. Is this, I don't want to say, is this about destiny? Because you've already said it's not, but it seems quite a big focus to the response of this. Are they the quintessential example of what not to do or be or put forward or associate within Māoridom, and that's why they're coming up several times in this conversation? Eru or Bianca, whoever wants to get to it.
I think that there's multiple groups, being on the front lines. We're seeing all kinds of far-right actors. We're seeing neo-Nazi groups. We're seeing conspiracy media platforms. There are multiple groups that are actually causing harm against communities. Certainly the acts that we've seen more recently, they can be directly related to probably one predominant group. But this is really the main message is that we need to come together. And the importance of this is that we are not scared. We are not scared to come out onto our streets, to be in our city, to stand side by side, and we will not be intimidated and we will not be pushed into the shadows because of the bullying tactics and harassment of any group. I'll hand it to Eru.
Yeah, no, Eru, and just to say, I mean, maybe what I'm hearing, and I'm not trying to explain your kaupapa, but not about destiny, lots of groups, but destiny might be one of the groups at the moment that most emblematic when it comes to that manipulation of Māori things. They're a pretty clear example of it. So maybe that's why they're thought of several times in this conversation.
Yeah, and I guess also the fact that they've got that there's another anti-immigration event happening at the same time in the city in a different location. And just to the listeners out there that are coming on Saturday, it's important to be aware of that at Victoria Park at 11 a.m. and to travel into the city in pairs or a group or just avoid that area. But definitely when you get down to us, bring all your flags and signs and banners out. But we do need to be mindful that they will use violence and they do harass people.
Eru, before we give out details and stuff, you want to wrap up with anything? Leave us with anything?
Just to add to that everything happens against a backdrop. We know that everything has kind of a broader context to it, but a backdrop is exactly that, right? It's not the focus of the kaupapa, and the focus of the kaupapa is aroha. And coming back to the point around the kind of the look and feel of it, what we're rallying for and calling for in terms of the coming together of different communities is also what's happening in the background of this kaupapa. So this is a cross movement organisation between Toitū Te Tiriti, Kaiawhina Tāmaki, Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei, who have gifted the whakatauki of Kia Uewe, Kia Tū Tangatanga, which is a line from their haka, traditional haka, which talks about coming together, standing in solidarity, and standing in a unified cause. And that's exactly what this is about.
Saturday night, you're having a meal afterwards, you might be having a cold bevy or something, you look back on the event, what does success look like? So when this thing is finished, what do you look back and say that was successful, that hit the metrics we wanted to make it a successful event?
I think that will be, it's going to be really interesting to see how many people come down. I feel like it is a bit of a kind of humble event that is just calling on people for, unity, aroha. It does seem like it's getting quite a big reach out into different communities. I've had several on Radio Spice tomorrow speaking to the Sikh community. There's all kinds of different communities and media that I haven't really heard of before that we're getting this message out to. So for me, the success of it will be in seeing everybody united despite our differences. It'll be seeing our Sikh community, our Palestinian Arab Muslim community, all of our communities hearing about haka and the tikanga of haka, and celebrating that together, witnessing that together. It'll be the power of the hikoi that's being led up Queen Street by Ngāti Whātua, and people making connections amongst one another, people looking around and seeing, wow, a lot of these people are different to me, but we are all here united for the same kaupapa, and for people to truly understand that as tangata whenua, we stand with them, and that the weaponization of particularly culture and haka should never be aimed at these communities. That is not the true purpose of it. And also, just obviously, we'd like to get the numbers of our petition up as well. So the whanaungatanga, the bringing of together of people, and also the optics of that. I think it's going to be really powerful to see how united we are, and the kōrero that people have to share about their experiences and what it means for them to come together and to be held together with a korowai around all of our communities by those who have been participating and organising.
Eru, anything to finish off?
Success looks like safety, everyone getting home safe, arriving safely,
Nice.
and moving safely. And there's no metric for this, but capturing hearts and minds.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're right about the media. Like I'm okay that you're jumping on media like BHN stuff you've never heard of before, Bianca. That's fine. We don't take that personally either. Love the branding, love the imaging, love that it's the weekend before Christmas. Oh, Christmas. It is Christmas for a lot of us for Waitangi Day. Auckland anniversary weekend, I think. I don't know if that'll help or hurt you. I think it's Auckland anniversary weekend, isn't it?
That was last weekend.
Oh, was that last weekend? Okay, I'll shut up.
But it is the day before the Pride Month kicks off, which is also extremely important for us.
Nice.
To kind of make this stand as well. And just a shout out to the artist. Huriana is the artist that did this artwork too. It's beautiful.
So 11 o'clock Saturday, starting at Britomart, walking up Queen Street. Is that, have I got that path right?
Yep.
And as you say, Eru, I love what you said. The success is safety, because you don't want issues for people to go away with. You don't want any hospital visits afterwards, and I think that's an amazing and quite lovely and actually quite generous kaupapa, because a lot of people would say, if we don't have 10,000, it won't be worth it. But it's like, as long as we're safe, it's worth it. It's a very caring way to think about things. Very excited in a few days to be up at Waitangi again, all the way from Dunedin. So if we see you up there, we see you up there. Other than that, all the best on Saturday. We might even jump in on the live streams and see if we can find some people on TikTok doing a little bit of live streaming and do some co-broadcasting or something if it does. But congratulations on what you guys are doing. Thank you for fighting the good fight. Thank you for, I was going to say stepping in the gap. You are the gap compared to those of us who don't live in that world. And we look forward to continuing to follow your lead as you continue through these weeks, months, years and decades to come. So all the best.
Kia ora.
There you go. So Chewy, that's the first time you're seeing that. Any thoughts, sir?
We often talk about how overwhelming stuff is from time to time, how unrelenting a lot of the topics that we cover are. And we keep on getting comments about, like, you can't fix everything, but you can fix stuff that is in your orbit. For those of you in Auckland, this is a good opportunity to put some of that positive desire out there and actually participate in something. And I think if you've never gone on a hikoi or a march or a protest or a rally or anything like this is a really good opportunity. You will feel a million times better, and those around you will appreciate your support and solidarity. So if you're able to go, maybe put on your favorite BHN t-shirt and head down.
And it's kind of almost like a starter hikoi, because it's like just a few hours on one day. And then next year, you can do the week-long one down the North Island or something. So get out there and give it a crack.
Got to start
All
somewhere.
right. We're happy to come back to this conversation. If anyone's got any thoughts around that, if we see any of the messages going through, we'll star it. But we are going to, okay. There you go. So maybe people can meet up there. That's a good idea. All right. Maybe there's a Big Hairy Neighborhood on Facebook, which is the group that Magenta's running. You guys should get in there. And if there are BHNers going to it, you guys could do that, meet up somewhere beforehand. We would come, but yes, we didn't know what was happening until we already booked to go to Waitangi. The commute's a bastard. So we'll leave it there for now. Happy to still take your thoughts and comments in the chat if we see them at the end of the next segment. But we have Camilla Belich waiting for us, and there is some very big news to talk about with Camilla. So let's go and have a chat and see what's going on. Camilla Belich from Labour joins us. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Doing really well, actually. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Not that this is why we have gotten you on. Actually, do you want to turn your phone sideways? You can do that if you want. It'll just give you a better look on our thing. We want you to, be the best possible. And look at that.
There we go. Is that better?
And now I'll take a step back and try and do this serious segue again. Not that this is obviously why we asked you to come on, but you literally have just been at the Mount Maunganui vigil. So what was it like? Your experiences there tonight?
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that up. It was very, very moving there tonight. We were there with the families of those who had lost their loved ones in Mawao. So that was very moving to be able to mourn with them and with the rest of the community. And it was a huge turnout in Mount Maunganui this evening. So really, really amazing to be able to be with the community and just to see such a massive turnout. And I know a lot of the emergency responders have been really so impressed with how the community's come together. So it was extremely sad, and I just want to obviously acknowledge the people lost and the family members of the people that were lost, and all the people doing so much work up here. It was really, really moving and lovely to be together, but obviously under such tragic circumstances. So thanks for putting up with me being a bit delayed tonight. So
No, it was fine. It was 100% fine. There's photos already of obviously already coming out at the event. Mount Maunganui, of course, always bathed in sunshine. I was interested as well, because are you based in Wellington? I was wondering, did you go because you just wanted to go, or do you have a connection to Tauranga, Papamoa, that sort of area?
So I live in Auckland, but I was in Wellington at Parliament this week, and I went because I'm our emergency management spokesperson. And this is the second time I've been up here since the disaster a week ago. And it's one of those types of situations, even though we're going to talk about another thing which is bipartisan, it is one of the situations which is truly bipartisan. When we have a disaster, we really try and come together, and we try to just show our support in any way we can. And it's really, I've found through attending some other things, like for example, I was in Dunedin during the floods that you had. You never really can truly appreciate the situation unless you were there and you see the people. And so for us, really, we're obviously not in government at the moment, hoping to be, but our role was really to make sure that there's bipartisan support for the emergency workers who are public servants, and they work for any government. And it's important we understand what they're doing. And so it was important to be there on that for that. And another role I have is I chair the Governance and Administration Committee, and we have an emergency management bill going through there at the moment. So it's definitely something that I spend a bit of time on and take really seriously as my Labour opposition spokesperson role.
I agree with you about the bipartisan approach to these sorts of things. I think we can make that statement and still go, however, with Mr. Luxon making comments around why can't we do bipartisan on climate change now, which are really based around the weather events, the trends that we're seeing. All of a sudden, he's saying that the left are playing politics on climate change when that's literally been their tagline for the last 3 years, we'll play politics on climate change. So I don't, it's this whole kind of thing. When's the right time to talk about this? At the moment, he's evoking that conversation by saying that you guys are playing politics around climate change. I don't know, perhaps as a way to cover that they've been playing politics around climate change, and then tragedy happens that can be linked, most experts would say, to climate change. So yeah, so with you, but also kind of going, we can also hold them at an arm's length and go with you. However, there is still some shit going down from that specific side of
yeah,
politics.
absolutely. I mean, the government has an absolutely terrible record on climate change, and that's something that we've been really it's been really important to us to hold them to account on that, and that will be ongoing as well. But the thing with this response is it's still relatively early days. We still haven't had the search and rescue is been going on for a while, removing obviously the people who are lost from the mountain. So really, I suppose that's the thing really, is the rescue or the recovery as it is now is still ongoing. And so there's always going to be time and a place to make sure that the important questions are asked, and there'll be important questions in the independent review that will be done, that will be about, are there any lessons that we can learn about how to prevent this in the future? And there'll be also obviously really huge issues to address for New Zealand around climate change, and are we doing enough for adaptation and prevention?
Yep.
And these events seem to be happening more and more regularly, and so how are we going to address this as a country? And so that's definitely not something to ever shy away from, but just for that immediate recovery, we work together to support the recovery.
Yep. And the skeptic in me, the dirty old political skeptic in me goes, when you see what can be done, it's like when the climate change question comes up for what can be done, these guys have a pretty terrible record at that, and so they're trying to get out ahead of it by going, hey, we should all do climate change together. Anyway, I don't actually want to, I'm going to hold my tongue a little bit because I don't want to take away from the vigil, especially for tonight. We'll start kicking their asses again from maybe tomorrow onwards. Hey, Chewy, just before we move away from this little impromptu conversation around Mapmonga doing what's happening there, do you want to jump in with anything before we go on to how ACT has revealed themselves as a pro-slavery party today? We'll get to that shortly, though.
Oh, no, I definitely want to talk about that.
I've got some video to play from the news, but let's just start off with the actual story. There is a legislative change, where there's legislation or a bill going forward outside the biscuit tin, because Labour and National seem to have been able to come together on this. Like this really tricky, hard question about slavery good, slavery bad. There's such a lot of greys there in that situation. So somehow you guys have got together over, I imagine, a couple of years and negotiated out the good and bad sides around slavery, and you've managed to kind of nut out a compromise and come together re-slavery. Obviously facetious enough that my tongue is through my cheek and into my ear. But tell us about the bill, and tell us what you're trying to achieve and what it will do.
Thanks. Yeah, really historic day for us to be able to get this modern slavery bill lodged, and will be hopefully shortly introduced on the next sitting day. The bill is a bill that really looks at two things. It looks at reporting on modern slavery for large companies. We know that there are issues within our supply chain worldwide about the estimation of about 50 million people who are living in conditions which would equate to modern slavery, and that includes things like slavery itself, servitude, sexual exploitation, child labour, really terrible conditions, and 50 million people, it's estimated, worldwide are working in these conditions, and many of them are producing goods that are available for New Zealanders to buy. And so what we would like this bill to do is to try and make sure that where there are supply chains which are relying on labour from people who are living in conditions of modern slavery, that these are identified and that they're remedied, and that there's some sunlight on that, so that we know that when that happens, and that there's some accountability for those large companies who do that. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is we know also very sadly that there are modern slaves in New Zealand, and the estimation for that is around about 8,000. And those people, obviously slavery is illegal in New Zealand already, but there's more we can do to assist people who face those types of conditions. And so this bill is a starting point really for making sure there's more government support for people in those particular situations, to make sure that there's information to be able to help them, and some oversight from the government around the instances of modern slavery. So it's really looking at those two areas, and it's not a new idea worldwide. People have introduced this in other countries like in the UK and Canada and Australia, and it's something that we've committed to in the free trade agreements that New Zealand signed up to with the UK and the EU. So it's something that, as you say in your introduction, it's something just so obvious, and we really needed to take some action on it, because we can all agree that slavery is something that we should be doing everything we can.
Can we
to
all agree?
prevent.
But
Well,
honestly,
we should be able to agree.
Can we all agree? I mean, as we've said, the term "lay down misère" comes to mind for this topic. And to be fair, sometimes political parties will be obstinate for the sake of being obstinate, but they'll have a reason for it. Like, imagine ACT came out and said, "Oh, this doesn't go far enough, so we're not going to support it," or "There's errors within this thing here, so we're not going to support it." But no, they don't even go that far. Brooke van Velden just goes, "Because it's not a part of my planned legislation." That's her reason for not getting behind it. Let's play 30 seconds from the news tonight.
What would you march in the street for?
There's something I feel very passionate about is modern slavery, for example. It's something that I've been really passionate about for a long time.
The new legislation will not be a government bill. National saying its coalition partner ACT and Workplace Relations Minister chose not to support it.
When I set out in this term of government, I had a priorities list that I said I was going to get through, and I've been sticking to that.
Well, it's not a priority for her, it's definitely a priority for National.
We've seen from the ACT Party a complete disregard for workers' rights.
So, as I said, could you make an argument, even if you're in a debate club, about why you would or wouldn't support legislation? Mostly you could come up with an argument why you wouldn't support legislation. Brooke van Velden's argument is, I have a list. I have a list on my fridge of things I want to get done, and this is not on the list, and my pen has no more ink, so I can't add it to the list. So ACT 2026, the pro-slavery party. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't believe that they support this bill. I don't think it's because it's not a priority. I think it's because they don't think that businesses should be reporting on this. And so I hope that someone is able to ask.
That's so much. That's so much word than just they're idiots and they dropped the ball. Like if they're actively not doing it, that is so many percentiles.
That is
worse.
my understanding, that it's not something that they believe should occur. So that's their view, and obviously completely disagree with that. And we've found a way to avoid that. They're actually, even though they have a lot of influence, and I think they have an absolutely terrible record in relation to workers' rights. The changes that they have brought through are some of the worst changes in relation to workers' rights that we've ever seen. Obviously, we have the pay equity regime that they completely dumped without consultation. And so this is just another, I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I am not surprised. This is consistent with their previous policies and behaviour in relation to workers' rights. And it is a continuum as well. I think it's really important to remember that slavery sounds really extreme, and it is, but it can start with worker exploitation on a minor level. And so that's why it's really important that we fight worker exploitation at all stages, because something that starts off as something quite minor could move to something which is extremely serious.
You use the word minor, perhaps where the act's got a bit mixed up because they're fine with 13-year-olds working full-time for people who own shops and stuff, perhaps. Right. Anyway, I was going to say, Chewy, sorry, I'm going to get out of the way and you're going to take over. But I just wanted to recount a very quick story. When I was working in radio, I interviewed Rodney Hyde, leader of the ACT Party, on numerous occasions. And when I would talk to him about legislation, his response was, and it's pretty much verbatim because he'd said it so many times to me, I always vote for the thing that brings freedom, because he's a libertarian. That kind of feels like a different vibe when you think about what they're saying about slavery now, because they're not going to vote, literally not going to vote for the things that bring freedom, like literal freedom, not like libertarian freedom for smoke whatever drug you want, but literal freedom of an indentured servant or a slave. They're not going to vote for that. So yeah, we've said for a long time, this is not John Key's Labour Party. You know, it appears this is also not Rodney Hyde's ACT Party. Chewy, you've got thoughts and feelings, I'm sure.
It has made me wonder how many business people on ACT's donor list have slavery in their supply chain.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorites does a lot of most of his products made overseas. I'm just wondering, just spitballing, but yeah, it's I this would have been something that they pro and conned, surely, and it's just like, we could just say nothing and just let this go through. And then Brooks walked into a forest of microphones and decided to try and be clever about it, and has just come up with, sorry, no room on the fridge. We're actually pro-slavery. Any questions? It's such a self-own. This is something that I am going to be writing all the way to the election. This is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer for the ACT Party because our position and beliefs are so polar opposite. It is staggering. It's staggering.
The other, and I guess this is a little bit tangential. The other question I wanted to ask, because I didn't get a really good understanding of this, there's been a bit made about how this is the first time this way of bringing a bill forward has been attempted. It's kind of bypassed our famous biscuit tin. Can you walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, so in a previous parliament, the parties, it was before my time in parliament, but I understand parties across the House came together to support another thing which we would all be opposed to, which was, I think it was female genital mutilation. And there was a bill that was, I think, voted on the floor of the House and also agreed by the Business Committee to be top of the Members' Bill order paper. Following that, which that was before my time, so I'm not an expert on exactly how it happened, there was a change to the standing orders, and a new standing order came in that meant that if the majority of non-executive members decided to support a particular bill, then actually not majority of most of executive members, of at least 61 MPs, and they have to be all of the votes that count have to be non-executive members. So although the National Party ministers have also said that they support this bill, actually it's their backbenchers' votes that count. So Labor has actually contributed more votes than National, because we have more non-executive members to this bill going through. And so that is what we did, really. It took quite a long time. We've been working on this for a long time to try and get a bill that both parties would be happy with. And I think if you look at the bill number on the Parliament website, that's uploaded. You'll see it's version 21. So you can see how much work
that's a lot
how
of
much
work
has gone into getting the bill together. And so we lodged it in the House office. They put it up on the website. You can see on the Parliament website the MPs who are supporting it. It's also open now to other members of Parliament who wish to support this bill. So we'll be approaching other political parties to seek their support, and there's still time for ACT to change their mind.
Because she's just upgraded from an A5 to an A4 refill, and now it fits on the list all of a sudden. Is this different from, because what I hear you describing is almost a conscience vote, but does it have to come from the biscuit tin to be a conscience vote? Is that why? Because could two parties just go, we're going to do a conscience vote, I'm giving all my MPs the ability to vote however you want?
So yeah, I think like I've looked at conscience votes and the standing orders before, and technically any bill can be a conscience vote. It just needs one party to say that they're treating it as a conscience vote. And in the history of Parliament and the practice of Parliament has been that they've been around kind of moral issues that seem acceptable to people. But in reality, it could be any issue. And so the Treaty Principles Bill, for example, if one party had said this is going to be a conscience vote, there's no technical reason why that couldn't have been voted on as a conscience vote if that's what had occurred. So in reality, this was both caucuses of National and Labour supporting it. So although the votes appear as individual votes, the caucuses have supported it. So it's, all Labour MPs and all National MPs and hopefully some MPs from other parties who I know are supportive of this issue, like the Greens.
Sorry for my slight laugh in the middle of your eloquent response here, but when you said it's mostly conscience votes are about like moral issues, I just thought, what, like ending slavery, and they still and ACT still won't do it. It's like okay.
I mean, you could. It's I don't. Oh no, that's not true. Many, I think, marriage equality, for example, I think there've been quite a few. Issues that have been conscience votes on it. I don't. It's not. I mean, the key thing is making sure you have enough votes, right? And I think it is a really interesting point, though, for those listeners who are interested in standing orders, which I'm not sure how much of your listeners are interested. But I think the standing orders are written in a way to allow for morality to change with society, and I think that's a good thing, because I think some of the things that we would think of as, moral issues that people would have really strong opinions on might be different today. And so I think political parties perhaps should look at other issues which are really important to New Zealand that could be considered for conscience votes, if that's appropriate in the future.
It's also, Chewie and I have been talking about, now that we're in election year, statements and ideas and things being put out there by political parties. You certainly don't want to put out something that's a negative that might cause the public to think ill of you in election year. And in fact, you're going to get to a time of the year where even putting out something that makes you feel, gives a neutral response, won't be the optimum. What you want to be able to do is positively influencing their public opinion to get votes, basically, because it's the election year we're in. And it seems even stupider and terrible politics by ACT. I know you're not responsible for them. My brain synapses are firing off. Because whether they vote for it or not, it's going to pass. So why don't they just shut up and vote for it? Unless, of course, unless their voters will actually gain them more vote by opposing. I'll say it again, whānau, slavery. But I don't know. Chewie, anything else before we wrap up on this?
No, I have nothing further to add.
We should, and am very keen to end this chat with actually making sure, even though, it's fun to laugh at the air quotes libertarians, we should definitely end this conversation with where to from here with this. What do we need to know? What do people need to know? Because that's actually, it's fun to laugh at the clown, but it's more important to get the information out there for the incredibly important work we're actually talking about. So where should we leave this conversation so we go off on that positive rather than Rimmer and his friends and their negative?
Yeah, well, I think the bill will have a normal journey through Parliament. It will have hopefully its first reading, I hope soon, maybe even in February, and then it will go to Select Committee. And I think Select Committee is actually a really good time for people to, if they want to submit on the bill, if they've got ideas on how the bill could be strengthened. This is a historic first, and I think people should feel that they should be able to make submissions on how the bill could be improved, whether it could be strengthened in a certain way, because it's come about in an unusual way. Maybe I'm optimistic that there's greater scope for changing the bill, because it's not something that's come through a cabinet decision, it's something that's come through parliamentarians. So I'd really encourage people to submit on the bill if they have strong views there's a lot of people in New Zealand who've got a lot of expertise around modern slavery, and I suppose I should add that this wasn't an idea that 2 MPs thought up, or even you saw the clip of the Prime Minister. The reason that this is so important for New Zealand is because it's got obviously such a serious issue, but also there's been so much community support for it. We've had school children come and talk to us, come outside Parliament and give us submissions. We've had trade unions, we've had businesses, we've had NGOs, so many people in the community want to see action on this because, as you said in your first segment, slavery is totally unacceptable to New Zealanders, and we want to do everything we can to stop it. So we are really grateful for the support that we've been able to get from experts in this area who deal with exploitation that happens internationally and how to tackle it. And we really want to see something effective in place that's actually going to stop some of these terrible situations. I mean, one other fact I'll mention is 1 out of every 4 modern slaves worldwide are children. So this couldn't be more serious, and most people, I think, would agree that we need to take action on it.
Most,
and again,
but not Brooke.
I will say most again.
Brooke's
I look,
cool
it's interesting. We're finished now, so this is just us talking shit now. But how you said partway through this, you're not surprised. Like, I still am. Like, maybe that shows that I still have a little bit of soul, Chewy. My hardened political nous hasn't been quite completely kicked out of me, because it's like it's every time you say, because New Zealanders oppose slavery, it's like, yeah, this is too weird. It's too weird. But Camilla, it's been fantastic talking to you. I think this is our first time chatting to you. Is this our first time?
Yeah, it is. I've heard a lot about you. Unlike some of your previous guests, you're very well known in my world. So yeah, great honour for me to be on.
Yeah. I don't know if this is too personal or not. I'm sure it'll be released when it happens. But have the McElnultys had a new edition yet?
Yes, they have.
Hey, got to send them a Nicky No Boats baby grow.
Yeah,
that's what we'll do.
Onesies, a new onesie range.
Hey, thanks for joining us. All the genuine congratulations with this policy. This is when I get to sit outside and go, shit, this is really important policy. Like, sometimes it's the quote unquote social issues or the moral issues that you actually go, actually, this is what we were sort of founded on, women vote, nuclear free 80s. So these are the things that make New Zealand, New Zealand. So well done for getting it across the line, and well done for holding your nose and working with National. I'm teasing. I'm actually teasing on that one because it's important. And and it's given us a very funny line about ACT for the rest of the election year as well. So it's for us, it's a win-win-win. So thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time, and all the best.
Thank you so much.
That is Camilla Belich, Labour Party MP, who is just coming back from the vigil in Mount Maunganui. Yeah, I just, it's like when Camilla was saying these things, because everyone in New Zealand, I just laughed every single time I laughed. I that didn't come across as rude, because it's like, yeah, of course. What an absolute balls up. What an absolute balls up. Like, honestly. And the other thing that's interesting,
just a massive cell phone.
Yeah, but where was Seymour? I haven't seen Seymour's comments on it. I wonder if Seymour's going to be like, what the fuck? Or Seymour will be like, no, yeah, it's a good thought. Good thoughts there. So anyway, ridiculous. Is there some chat? I see there's some starred chats and stuff in there. Should we get to that before we head off to...
Well, let's go through that.
You get to do the chats, Chewy. Yay.
I do the chats. I'm getting back into practice. I have control. I have my control-y fingers. Slavery is the opposite of freedom. What the fuck, that?
Exactly. That's the point I was making.
But freedom for workers is the opposite of profit. So how do you square that circle?
That's very true.
Off topic slightly, but do we all see the device thrown into the crowd at the Invasion Day rally? We have. I have a story for that.
Okay, I only saw that on the periphery. I did see that, and it was like is this a bomb type thing? But I've seen no further into it. So
it's interesting because of the occurrence, and it's also interesting about
is this
how
the occurrence? Oh, that's the happening. I'm thinking about the happening.
Yeah. Okay. Someone chucks a bomb into a crowd of people. Generally, that's somehow news, and it somehow prompts a rapid reaction from law enforcement. Not so much in this case, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. We have Joe 492. Rome wasn't built in a day, but some of it was. Kia ora, BHN crew. This is when we were talking about going to the hikoi, even if you've never done something like that before. You don't fix everything all at once, but you do fix something right now. So,
hey, and saying that again, if you are going to go to the hikoi on Saturday and you're going to put us on your socials, just tag us. Tag us, because I've got we've actually got our meetup at 11 o'clock, and what I might do during the meetup is maybe we'll do I'm not going to broadcast people coming to the meetup here, but maybe we'll have a look and see what we can find, and if you tag us, we'll spread it and share it, and if I do jump into the studio and do some live streaming, I'll look for the tag. So either tag our accounts or hashtag BHN if you're going to be there with any photos or any video, and if we don't use it over the weekend, I'm sure Emily and Chewy will get to it on Monday.
Preventing slavery, not on Brooke's list. Pete says pay equity is fine as long as the pay is nothing.
You guys aren't supposed to be funnier than us. We've said this before, team.
Brooke Van Velden did a reverse Mumdani. That sounds like a wrestling move.
That's so true.
Focusing on the worst policies. Yeah. Very nice, very generous donation there. $5 towards defeating all evil. We might need more than that. But,
I reckon $7.
Like the comment about Rome, it's a good start.
$7 will get us there. $5 we're not going to defeat all evil, but if it had been at $7, we definitely would have done it.
$5 we might irritate evil a little bit.
just a little
Kathy
bit.
Hunt says Seymour doubled down with the press and back.
Okay.
Brooke said it was too much regulation on business and they didn't support it.
Hang on. See, that's so bad again. Is Kathy taking the piss? So I need to look that up, because that's what you would expect the caricature to say. But if he actually did say it, I'll look it up.
What's next? Are they going to regulate the painfulness of the whips that our slave masters use? It's fucking red tape gone mad.
I'm just looking at David Seymour's slavery. I'm hoping there's not going to be no imagery that comes up to that.
David Seymour in a gimp mask. Come on.
Watch National and Labour MPs team up. Yeah. I'll go Control F. Seymour's such a Seymour. Okay. Here we go. However, ACT leader David Seymour said the party was yet to consider the bill because, slavery,
Need some consideration.
Was yet to consider the bill, and he did not believe legislation on it had ever come before Cabinet. Our caucus has got to discuss it, but I just ask the simple question. If you really care about slavery, why do you allow it for companies of less than 100 million? Now, we know how smarmy he is in general, but that was a question I was going to ask. Greater than $100 million turnover is a pretty big ask. If you're a $20 million company, also, that why are they? So he's doing it in like if China's not doing anything about climate change, then why should we? He's doing it in that kind of smarmy way. But there is a question to be answered as to if your company is doing $99 million and using slavery, they're going to get a pass. It's a valid question for a less smarmy person to ask of this legislation. But I'll go on. Hang on, I'm not finished with old Mr. Seymour. It's virtue signaling. We've just got rid of climate change reporting for most companies because it achieved nothing. And now you're going to seriously say we're going to put more costs onto New Zealand businesses and New Zealand consumers so that in a modern economy, they're going to try and work out where every single screw and every single fiber of every single component and everything they sell came from, and what the labour conditions of the people. This is the penguin. He's the penguin from Batman. This is actual evilness. It really is. And he walks like him as well. The labour conditions of the people in every business associated with everybody in the world that's why it doesn't actually work. There's more, but okay. So yeah, he doubled down. Genuinely.
What a twat.
What a Seymour. I hope people have joined us tonight for the first time and they're hearing us saying what a Seymour and they don't know what we're talking about. Go back 2 nights ago. It'll all be explained.
Watch the whole thing.
He's a huge Seymour. He is the biggest. He's the biggest Seymour. Wasn't there 2 David Seymours? I always think that. Is that right? There was 2 David Seymours.
Yes, I haven't checked into the second David Seymour.
I wonder if the second David Seymour is such a Seymour. He may not be. He may be a lesser. He may not even be a Seymour.
I just do a search for David Seymour 2, which was his very amusing email address.
Email address. His email address.
Like his official ACT party email address is David Seymour 2 at ACT.
I wonder if that was a business decision, and then anytime something went really badly, David Seymour could have taken responsibility for it over David Seymour. So it was like having a clone. What is it? The Island with Ewan McGregor. It was the clone that you could get your liver from. It was a clone within the organisation that they could then blame things on that David Seymour did and David Seymour didn't do. So what they did was they blamed David Seymour for the stuff that David Seymour had done. And therefore, David Seymour could get a skate and go through it. Make sense?
They're only listing their MPs, not their candidates. I guess that comes a little bit later.
Yeah. Oh, was he whangarei? Sasha says whangarei. That means he might be going up against Gary. That means Gary might be fighting David Retty and David Seymour. David Retty's a Seymour. Big Seymour, isn't he? Anyway. Okay. Shall we move? Have we done all the chats?
Yes, all the chats are complete, sir.
No, they're not. Laura says, fight road cones. Fight slavery. Oh my gosh. There's a DJ called Seymour. He's a GC. GC is Gold Coast. He's a GC. All these young people. All these young people with their young acronyms.
You have never been older than right now.
Thanks. My daughter was giving me assholes the other day because I sent her this TikTok of a dog climbing onto a bed, carrying its puppy and lying it down beside another baby. The account had the referenced AI in it, and she thought I'd sent it to her thinking it was real. Dad, it's AI. You didn't even know it's AI? I'm like, yeah, but it's AI. Yeah. All right. Okay, Granddad. And then I kicked her out of the home and said, go fend for yourself then. No, I didn't do that. I cried when she left. Didn't do that either. All right. Should we get to Ilhan Omar? We're going to play the footage from last night, from yesterday. It's actually footage that a lot of people have seen, but hopefully, if you've seen it, you haven't seen this one where she drops the F-bomb and they... Oh, the good Seymour? The GC, the good Seymour, maybe. Drops the F-bomb and they don't bleep it, which I think is appropriate. So let's have a look at the issue. What you want to watch, and you will see him because he moves, obviously, is basically the man in the front row right here in front of her gets up and sprays her.
Abolishment of the agency. ICE cannot be reformed. It cannot be rehabilitated. We must abolish ICE for good. And DHS Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
Oh, she was going to throw hands.
I was going to say, did you see the first bit where she's about to have a crack? Watch it again. Yeah, she goes from, you watching?
I don't know.
And this is the other thing. You'll hear in the background the talk, but her I was going to say handlers, it's the wrong word. Her people around her colleagues, they want her to go. They're like, you have to go and find out what their stuff is. And she's just like, no, fuck that. Quite literally.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her.
I need a napkin to know nothing. No, we'll go. No, we will continue.
No.
Yeah, so that's her security guy saying, yeah, we've got to bail.
Assholes are not going to get away with it.
We'll just go back a little bit. Yeah, so they're trying to convince her to leave, but we definitely want to give space for that F-bomb coming up.
You need to go get checked.
No, we will continue. These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it.
You need to go get checked.
These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it.
That's whatever it is smells so bad. She needs to go get checked. I don't know what that was.
That's what they want. Please don't let them know.
It's not about him, Ilhan. It's not about him. It's about your safety. No, he sprayed something on you. You need to go get checked. Yeah, and it smells terrible.
We're gonna keep talking. Just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes. I beg you. Please don't let them have the show. 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 Here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand. We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us.
Literally.
Everybody settle down. I'm going to finish my remarks. It is important for me to continue to lead my Democratic colleagues in demanding her resignation.
I mean, you want to talk about mana, not a term they use in America, and just this idea, like she's begging security. I don't know if it's her security, but security that's there, obviously, begging him to not allow them to basically win the show, have the show, win the show. She used the word show. In other words, they don't get to have the headline tonight on the news that was attacked and shut down an event. They can have there was attack, but they won't. She wouldn't allow them to add that and shut down the event part of the headline. It's just it's amazing. It's amazing.
There's so much there. There's the fact that she was going to clean this guy's clock herself if her security didn't get there. I think she would have thrown hands 100%. The fact that after something like that, and like with everything that's going on in the States, with the sort of threats that I'm sure her and her office get probably weekly, daily, that there's some unhinged people that want to take a crack at her. This could have been anything. It turns out that it was apple cider vinegar squirted from a syringe.
Yeah, but even that, even the imagery of that, a syringe.
So you don't know that straight away. You don't know that in the moment, but her instinct was like, no, I'm not going to give this. I'm not going to let this go. I'm not going to let him derail what I have to say. In that moment, that shows the strength of will. Now, of course, when we're talking about someone with integrity and instincts and strength of will, you've also got to contrast that with someone that doesn't have those attributes. And of course, when Trump was asked for his comments about it, he basically said that she probably organised it herself. It was a false flag. She would have squirted the thing on herself. So, what a twat.
So, in other words, we can now say, that gunshot that was aimed at Donald Trump that allegedly nipped his ear, he probably organised it himself. It's a false flag.
Well, to be fair, I have been saying that pretty much since the day after.
I think Donald Trump is an example of a human being and an example of the way someone operates that is singular. So even if you say the right would do this, the left would do that, Donald Trump is singular, and it'll be the Donald Trump will do this. But one of the things I was thinking today, and it's you're seeing it in Minneapolis at the moment, and I would say this about people here in New Zealand, when you don't know, or when someone is maybe not stable or not is not balanced in their perspective, is when you get alongside someone and when you support someone and when you vocalize and say what they're going to say, that means you're also tarring yourself with the brush should they become hypocrites. Equally, there are many people in this public life, like Donald Trump, who will throw you under the bus in a heartbeat. So what's happening in Minneapolis at the moment is there's all these politicians, there's all these people on the right who are going with the narrative of the domestic terrorist. Donald Trump has realized that narrative is not the best narrative. It's not winning for him. So he's moving away from it. So what's happening is Donald Trump is singular. Donald Trump only thinks about Donald Trump. Donald Trump reacts not like the right, but like Donald Trump. So he's now moving away from this narrative that the rest of the right is still adhering to, and it's making the rest of the right look ridiculous. And Donald Trump means Donald Trump is throwing them all under the bus. Do not give your loyalty to a Donald Trump. Right, no matter what you think and how. No. So at some stage, put it this way, you'll be lucky if a Donald Trump figure doesn't throw you under the bus, because what has to happen around the chaos around Donald Trump is eventually everything falls over, and he gets to walk away smelling like, well, who knows in real life, but the metaphor would be roses as he leaves all the people that were loyal to him in the shit. I don't think there's anyone else in the world quite like Donald Trump when it comes to that, but I do see that on a more minor scale here in New Zealand. You know, like when you get behind someone and then they realize, oh, we better move in another direction, or they become hypocritical in a situation. Like, for example, a government that when in opposition held the previous government to a standard, that will then not hold themselves to that same standard. Just, you got to be careful. You got to be careful because the egg will be left on your face. The Prime Minister is still on the 9th floor of the Beehive. The Prime Minister will probably still get the knighthood. The Prime Minister could well stay as Prime Minister. But you, the person supporting them and what they're saying today, even though it's completely contrary to what they were saying 2 years ago, you were the one that looked like you're a fucking idiot for believing them. You, not them, because I'll keep on telling you that water is dry. They'll keep on telling the country when you repeat it, you look like the moron, not them.
Before we move on to the Perth story.
Oh, actually, just before we go on, but one thing, just so you know, I've also got a 2.5 minute bit, which is Ilhan Omar about 3 or 4 hours ago talking about the event if you want it. So it's queued up if you want it. Don't have to play it though.
Okay. Just because you're talking about being thrown under the bus by the good and glorious leader. Obviously the now ex-chief of ICE, I think his name Greg Bovino or something like that.
Yeah, the bovine.
Yeah, Bovino. He's been sacked, disgraced, left, whatever. Yep. He has definitely been selected to be thrown under the bus. Some of the footage that's coming out around that is really interesting. I've got this. So this is from a little I guess a pep rally with his troops before they went in.
Arrest as many people that touch you as you want to. Those are the general orders all the way to the top. Everybody fucking gets it if they touch you. You hear what I'm saying? Less legals. We're going to look at shipping tractor trailer loads of that shit in here. So you catch what it's all about us now. It ain't about them. Professional, legal, ethical, moral. You know what we're talking about. Legal, ethical, moral. You're on camera. But other than that, it's what we do. What city is it, Chief? Fucking Ireland, Fire fucking city. Arrested.
So, yeah. That's what they got before they went in and interacted with the civilians of Minneapolis.
Can I also say, and I'm looking at this to make sure I get the quote right, what we're also seeing is we're seeing those ICE guys just now actually actively saying to people, we will kill you. There was one, and I think I'm looking for it. I'm not able to find it. One of the ICE guys has been caught saying, lower your voice or I'll silence your voice, is one of the things that's been said. There's reports from people who are, observers, they call them, who've broken no laws, who are thrown in the back of cars, and then they're telling stories as to what the officers were then doing in the backs of cars. There's imagery and video of ICE officers on the job using alcohol while they're on the job, having hip flasks and taking hits while they're doing stuff. And it's an interesting thing because ICE has been around for a while. It was around under Obama as well. But there are reports off the record, like confidential. They'll keep your name out of the papers. But there are reporters speaking to ICE officers who have been around for 10, 15 years going. And these ICE officers are going, "What? Raise your voice. I'll erase your voice." There you go. there are ICE officers who have been there since Obama's time who are telling stories like they would not make arrests in a public setting. They would go to a house at 6 a.m. so they could make sure they found the person. There's a story told today from an ICE officer who remained nameless that they went to this house at 6 a.m. This is like in 2015. This guy was going to work. They arrested him. They then found out that they were looking for his brother, so they released him immediately. And because the brother wasn't there was nothing they could do about it. So kind of operating still in a pretty, I'm not the hugest fan of it, but certainly in a way that you would say in America is constitutional, and a way that is legal as well. Yeah. And those guys are now going, there are people who are failing. There are ICE officers who are failing the test, the written test, even though it's an open book written test. There are ICE officers that are failing the fitness test, even though it's the fitness test they literally give 5-year-olds at school. It's like the one they do. And that's then, those people are then taking alcohol with them, being told if they touch you, fuck them up, out into the streets of places like Minneapolis. And this is what America is currently dealing with.
Yeah. And look, anecdotally, I've seen stories that back that up in comment threads of that sort of thing, of people that either interact with ICE or have worked with ICE, is that this massive influx of Proud Boys, MAGA racists, all of that sort of thing that are coming in, are scaring the living shit out of some of, I guess, the career law enforcement people that have worked with ICE. And we can disagree with what ICE have done for ages. Look, Obama, Biden, they were all putting kids in cages at the end of the day. But for someone that has worked with ICE all the way through that, to get to a point where they go, you know what, this is too much for me, and then they're leaving, you are just going to lower the standards, I guess. And that I think is a feature, not a bug. That is what they want. They want an army of goons. And that was what the Gestapo was. That was what the SS was, ideologically pure above all things, committed to the leader above all things.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Is there anything else you want to put out there? You're talking about Perth or something?
Yeah. So we've had a couple of people sort of going, "What's this thing in Perth?"
Right. The lobbing of the device.
Yes. So there was an Invasion Day rally in Perth, because it's fucking Australia Day. Just as an aside, my own personal view is, have Australia Day. Don't do it on this day. Do it on May 8th. Mate. Much funnier. But anyway, the serious side of things is...
It's almost as good as May the 4th be with you. It's up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, when you live in a colonised country, maybe commemorating the day that James Cook turned up and said, ours, thanks, the people that were already there might not be particularly happy about that and the things that happened afterwards. So there are, Australia Day, Invasion Day rallies around Australia. So there was one in Perth. People were gathered in a square as a rally, and someone has thrown a homemade device covered in ball bearings, nails, chemicals that could potentially explode into the crowd. Now, this is 2 days ago. Have you heard about it up until now, Pat?
I mean, I'd seen the headlines, but to be honest, I hadn't looked into it. So the answer is I've seen it on the periphery, but I hadn't done anything else.
Had a lot of talk around the world about domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
We've had a domestic terrorism attack in Australia recently. Do you think that this featured dramatically in the news anywhere? No.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The first time I saw this was in social media, reels and that sort of thing. The police had a nice little chat with the guy and then arrested him and took him away. They are discussing whether terrorism charges are likely to be levelled at him. Albanese has come forward and is definitely going, we need to throw the book at this cunt. That's, I assume, a direct quote.
For clarity, it was an IED that didn't go off. It wasn't a dummy.
Correct.
I've got the footage here. Do you want to see the footage?
Yep. Check the footage. I was looking for a good copy of footage and couldn't find it. So
I'll bring it.
if you've got it,
I'll bring it up. So this is the footage.
So
I don't know.
you can see the guy in the black there in the unblurred circle yeets the thing into the crowd and then legs it.
And then I think
there's not the most athletic cat there, but clearly he expected something to happen.
It comes down here, and they got the replay of it. So,
we need this area clear. Andy, this is not a drill. Your safety is paramount to us. That is our primary concern. Please head back of Forest Chase. We must clear the area. I cannot
it would be like how the protest will be going on, because that will innately be people who are distrustful of the police as well, because there's a part of the Invasion Day thing. You're the government, and I'm not trustful of you, and the people who they're not trustful of are going, there is a bomb, and for real life, you need to
Well, that's
leave.
the thing. They can't say it's a bomb, right? Because if they say, hey, look, we need you to go because there's a bomb, you get a stampede.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing is you get a line of police that were there anyway saying, hey, look, we need you to back off. And they're like, well, why should we listen to you? We don't trust you. You know, it's a perfect storm. But here we have another attempt at a racially motivated attack against an Indigenous people in Australia. And it just seeming to be very low down the list as far as things that the news wants to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, is it one of those things about flooding the zone, you know, that people, there is so much news at the moment, you know, there are currently an armada of American ships going into the Middle East. You've got American politicians being sprayed with who knows what until they know what. You know, all these things are going on, and you've got a tragedy in Mount Maunganui that it just goes further and 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 further down an editorial thing until it becomes either a social media post or the equivalent, whatever that is, of the back page of the paper, which is actually not the equivalent because the back page wasn't too bad because you'd always see both sides, but the inside cover of the back page of the paper. Yeah, and I wonder about that actually, Chewy, now that we're saying that, is that there's probably always, every day of the week, there'll be massive news stories that aren't being told. My question will always be, why is that massive news story not being told? If it's because it's not considered important, like if this is not being told, this story around the world because it's not considered important, then that in and of itself is a subject worth picking up. Is it because there are 19 other things that the editor deems more important? What do you do?
Well, we have that almost every single night, right?
Yeah.
Like we make jokes that this is a 90-minute hour because we could never get all of our news stories to fit into the hour that we have planned. But there's always stuff that ends up on the floor. Like, I'm sure you're the same as me, Pat. I have tabs open just in case here. Hastings District Councillor refused to attend council
because I'm Marae. I've got that tab open as well.
Yeah. Snap. This is all the stuff we can't talk about. Prime Minister is going to Waitangi. Maybe.
Do you know one of the things we haven't talked about? Melania Trump's opening box office of the, and here's hang on. Let me get mine out first. And then you can go. In the UK, it's been shown in the UK, and I think I watched Kyle Kalinske doing all the stats about it today. Many of the theatres had sold 0, 1 or 2 tickets. And then Kyle said, the Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister's documentary, when that opened, it did a £30,000 weekend. I went, that'll be interesting to see at the end of the first weekend, Melania's box office versus Jacinda's box office.
So I checked, I only had time to check one website, but Readings has not sold a single ticket nationwide for that movie. Yeah. That is a $40 million bribe that Jeff Bezos gave the Trumps to do this puff piece.
Yeah,
you can see the money that they've spent in the ad campaign. It's being advertised on TV1 here. There's posters throughout the London Tube, and it's just like, did you really think that would work? Like globally, you think that people give a shit enough to go and watch a puff piece about Trump's, what is it, second, third wife?
19th.
Like, oh God, it's just so dumb. But, you know, apparently it's $40 million movie.
I think it was Kyle Kalinske that I was watching, but his commentary was really interesting because he was like, he goes, I would go to an actual documentary on Melania. Like if there was a documentary from where she came from and why the hell she was, you know, in with this guy and the connections to Epstein, like he would watch that, a real proper documentary, but this is not that. And he was reading out the piece and he talked about the director, and it says in the article something like, this is the director's first movie back since a series of serious sexual allegations, and he just burst into like, of course the director was that, of course, because that just fits the MO, doesn't it, beautifully. There was a really good point that I meant to star as it went past, and it's about what we were just talking about, the invasion day. And I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm just going to scroll for a second or two. Here it is, perfect. It's the language that's being used too, Pat. Incident rather than domestic terrorism.
100%. It is. Yep. It is just a case study in minimization. It just shows how different communities are being treated around similar sort of things.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way that people are talked about. The Australian media, look, that's an absolute basket case, but everybody is playing follow the leader on that one. Like nobody's standing up and going, hey, this is fucking serious and bad and wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. Brian says that Jacinda will get deported. Poor Melania. Brian also says that lady, Ilhan Omar, is my hero. She's a leader. Arvid says, let's not forget New Zealand is not so much better. It can't happen here, the dawn raids. Fascism is a global threat.
100%.
60%. I mean, just think about Waitangi Day. Waitangi Day is considered a day of mourning by some Māori, but then other Māori, because its origins is not necessarily an invasion. Its origins are, I am speaking out of turn, I'm not the expert, but an alleged agreement. So it is not exactly the same, but the threat is at every country that it could be the same.
Yeah, but it's a fragile thing.
It is fragile.
I think the celebration and commemoration about Waitangi has changed in my lifetime.
Yep.
And it has changed a lot in the last 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of people that are seeing it as a national day, as it should be, right? It's the founding document of our nation. But you don't have to go back too far that it was just a Māori thing, or it was just something that people got to yell at.
It didn't exist. They cancelled it.
Yep.
And they brought it back.
Yep. And so, yeah, I think the comment of, look, we can't sit on our laurels and go, hey, look, we're heaps better than Australia and heaps better than America and all of this sort of stuff. It does not take much to upset that apple cart.
I agree. But that's what I'm saying. It's not 100%. It's not the same. It's slightly different. There are some differences. I guess that's not. And you know what I think I'll do, Chewy? Maybe like next week I'll go to Waitangi for the week and I'll investigate it for myself and I'll send some reports back and we'll see if we can get a conclusion. And I'll tell you what,
if that goes well, I'll go to the next one.
Oh, sure.
I really wanted to go to this one.
I'll get Chloe on the phone for you, and she can just say g'day to you.
Don't do that.
I'll do a FaceTime. I'll do a FaceTime with Chloe, and she can talk to you.
Have a terrible time, Pat. I hope it goes badly.
We could have topped and tailed on the couch, bro. You and me.
That's one of the things that I'm most disappointed about.
Yeah. Okay, so let's wrap up. It's hilarious that you kind of go, we do these 90-minute hours, and I looked at the clock after we were finishing up with Camilla, and it was like 2 minutes to 10, and I went, Okay, maybe we'll be up by 10:15. It's 10:39. Okay, so this is what we do. So that's it for me for a week and a bit. Oh, that's an interesting image I just saw down there. I thought it was going to be blackface. Is that...
No, once again, our Discord has been on the ball. I made one sideways comment about David Seymour in a gimp mask. It's been manifested.
Oh, that's terrible.
Look at, just focus on the eyes, Pat.
No.
Focus on the eyes.
Okay, Discord. He also
Not the
needs
weird
a ball.
mouth.
He does need a ball gag as well, just quietly. Okay, so that's it for me. Okay, Whānau. I just realised right this every second I haven't done something that's quite important. So this Sunday night we have a special event on the Big Hairy Network. We have Craig Rennie doing a live locked out with Craig Rennie. As I scroll through my emails looking for the email from Craig. Here it is. Let me read this to you. This will be going out as a teaser tomorrow. This Sunday night on the Big Hairy Network, we're going to do a show that will examine some of the economic claims being made by National, showing that they're delivering neither the economy we need or what. We will also look at the latest economic data from Treasury, showing the decline in the key indicators that matter for New Zealand. Finally, they're going to, Craig's going to examine the missing pieces of the government's analysis, demonstrating how their blind spots are driving poor decision-making. Viewers and listeners will leave armed with real facts and figures. Craig's been asked to give out some information that people can use. That's what the show is all about. They can also then fight back in any of the disinformation coming their way. The show, to show everyone that the damage has been done by this government over the past 2 years. The show is going to take questions from the audience, and the facts, figures, and chart will be posted publicly so they can be used later on. So actually, it's quite a big event. 7 o'clock Sunday night, Craig Rennie's live broadcast. I will be on the broadcast with him, but that's just because he needs technical help. I will just be sitting in the background touching buttons. Well, anyway, I'll leave that alone. So if you want a masterclass in the economy and questions and answers that you may want to ask, then Craig Rennie will be live at 7 p.m. on Sunday night. So whilst this is the last one of these for me and all of next week, well, I guess from Wednesday onwards, because we arrive in Waitangi on Tuesday and Monday we'll be leaving. So Emily and Chewy through next week, and Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be out of Waitangi and you'll be definitely getting some content sent back. And I haven't talked to the kids about Friday night yet. I'm assuming they're probably going to do a Waitangi show. We'll see what happens though. But then I'm back the following Monday, which is the 9th. And anything that doesn't get covered off during the week, I will cover off on that Monday back. I think that Monday night, I haven't talked to her about this yet, but I think I'll get Emily to come back for that as well, because we're not landing in Dunedin until like mid-afternoon. So to try and organise a show, and then we might do a 3-hander on that Monday night if Emily's available. Okay, sorry about that, Whānau. So for those of you who are on the levels that have a meetup this weekend, then I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday morning. Other than that, I'll be back in the BHN seat in 2 Mondays' time. I'll be in the Waitangi seat next week, and Chewy and Ems will take you through the week. Kids are up tomorrow night with a bunch of fun stuff going on. I'm not sure what it is. Anything else to finish the show?
No, I've done too many tangents. I've exhausted my supply.
If anyone's at Waitangi, if anyone's up there and you're going along, I ran into some people last time. But if you're up at Waitangi, connect. I mean, like if there was enough people, we could do a meetup at Waitangi. We could find a space and meet up somewhere up there. I'm happy to do that. We'll keep it sort of pretty chill, meaning if there's not enough people to do one, we wouldn't do one. But I'm happy to leave it open. I'm planning on being on site, certainly all Thursday or Friday. Probably visit the site on Wednesday, have a bit of a look around. But the politician Porphyry sounds better. Porphyry is on Thursday, so I'll be there for that, and I'll be visiting more as a sort of on the Friday to celebrate Waitangi. So probably Thursday is my work day up there, a big time, hopefully get some interviews and send back to you like we did last year. But if you're going to be there, connect. You can do it through the socials and stuff, and maybe we'll catch up with some of you up at Waitangi. All right, Chewy. Yeah, hopefully you'll be okay. You're not going to be too sad when I'm not here. I'm sure you and Emily will get up to all sorts of mischief with me not being here. But remember, Saturday night, and we'll put out that teaser tomorrow, so you'll be able to pass that around tomorrow, because it's really important. If you want some answers, if you want some info, if you want a masterclass on the economy, to then be able to use yourself, be here on Sunday night. You can, of course, get that on demand all the way through, but if you want to ask a question in particular, be here on Sunday night. On any of the big, hairy network channels, that's YouTube, that's Facebook, that's Twitter. Craig will be knocking them out of the park. Questions, that is. Nothing else comes along with that. Just questions. Just questions. All right, whānau. All right, whānau. Be well.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have their hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting peas from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a war path to run, and linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All heavily either this way or that, and we'll be analyzed by what you
Chewy. Apparently we've missed some stuff. Arvid says I was just talking about the American Unjustified Invitations and meant to say Uruwera raids. And Donna Ellis says, Pat, what colour hat will you be wearing at Waitangi so we can find you? Wow, it might be a different hat every hour or so. I might take a whole collection up. Who knows?
Special hat suitcase.
I might get Chewy's hat, which is gold, and makes you
I'm
look
a swag
like
hat.
a porn
Oh, my
star.
swag hat. No, my swag hat is in the cleaners because we know that the budget announcement is a budget day is May 28th.
Yeah. All right. I got nothing else from me, Chewy. Anything else from you before we head off?
That's all from me. No, nice.
All right, team. We'll catch you from Waitangi. We'll see you Sunday night with Craig. Be safe, be well. Hooroo.
Cheers, fam.